The next few days are going to be pivotal in the Commanders' search for their next defensive coordinator. Also, changes are happening at the top level, but what are they, and why could they be coming too late? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, back with you all on this snowy Monday morning. I'm terrified of getting out on the roads later because they have not paved my neighborhood and the snow is starting to freeze over. You guys aren't here for snow updates, but I feel like it's the big news of the town right now. So I just want to say, if you are someone who's affected by the snow, please be safe. I hope that you guys are all doing well. I hope you all made it through the weekend. I said that I was going to be here over the weekend if I didn't lose power. I lied. I didn't lose power and I didn't upload. I'm sorry. Just took the day to unwind, unplug a little bit, watch the playoffs, and I had a blast. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of really good information and topics coming in this video, because things happened over the weekend, and of course, we are here to break them down in this video, like a Commanders coach getting an interview for another head coaching spot, updates on the defensive coordinator search, and then changes in the scouting department and why that is so important with the NFL draft not being all that far away. So guys, do me a favor, hit the like and the hype buttons if you are enjoying the content, subscribe if you are new around here, and as always, feel free to leave me your thoughts in the comments section. Again, I took a total step away yesterday, just wanted to unwind and watch the game, so I wasn't really active in the comments, but I promise you that I will be back in this video and all the videos moving forward, just as I always am. So let's start off by talking about the Cleveland Browns. And why are we talking about the Browns? Well, Cleveland conducted an interview with Anthony Lynn, the Commanders coach, for their vacant head coaching or open head coaching spot. Now, this is the second time that Lynn has gotten an interview. Previously, he interviewed with the Buffalo Bills. Now, I'll start by saying this. The Browns are making a complete mess of this process. According to Tom Pelissero, they're making candidates complete questionnaires, write a multi-part essay, take a personality test, do extra homework. It's just a disaster, and this is what you expect with bad franchises. Bad franchises do bad things. They do stupid things. They do dumb things. Just this morning, Grant Udinski, the Jaguars' 30-year-old offensive coordinator, he dropped out of the running. Mike McDaniels dropped out of the running. So while Anthony Lynn might not be the hottest name on the market right now, I don't even know who's going to be left in the race for the Browns to hire if they keep acting in this manner. When you listen to their ownership and their management talk, they always talk about being data-driven and analytics-focused and on the forward foot, and we're going to do things the right way. And then they do stuff like they draft two quarterbacks 1 round apart in the same draft after they break the bank for Deshaun Watson. That deal was so ridiculous that you know how every deal resets the market? That one didn't. All the other NFL owners were just like, we are ignoring that. We cannot use that as a benchmark. So, round of applause to the Browns. But this is relevant to the Commanders, not only because Anthony Lynn is obviously one of the team's coaches, but if he does get hired, because he is a minority and he would be coming to head coach, the Commanders would get 2 compensatory third-round picks, one in 2026, one in 2027. So obviously it would hurt to lose a trusted member of your coaching staff, especially under a first-time offensive coordinator in David Blau, but compensatory means compensation. You would get some picks back, and this team needs picks. So we'll see what happens in that story. But let's move from the offense over to the big news, which is, of course, on defense. Credit to David Harrison of Locked On Commanders for putting this together in a little write-up that he shared on his social media page. With the Seahawks win this weekend, and let me just start by saying, the Seahawks, very underrated, one of the most underrated, excellent teams that I can remember. According to DVOA, which is one of these new all-inclusive stats to measure team effectiveness and efficiency, and I get it. We all know what passing yards are. We all have heard of passer rating. DVOA, it's one of those new stats. Not everybody knows what it means. But again, it just measures how effective is a team overall. And according to that, as far back as the data goes, the Seahawks this season are the 6th best team in NFL history. The Washington team in 1991, by the way, that's number 1. So further staking the claim that was the best football team ever. But the Seahawks checking in at number 6. We don't talk about them like that, but they are truly a historic team. Now, I bring all this up because with the Seahawks beating the Rams in the NFC Championship game, the Seahawks defensive backs coach and passing game coordinator Karl Scott, obviously a target for the Commanders' defensive coordinator spot, he is available for an in-person interview. Now, he can't be hired until February 9th, which is the day after the Super Bowl. On the flip side, the Rams' loss means that the Cardinals could make their hire, and one of their top targets is the Rams' offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur. I should clear that up and say the Cardinals could have made their hire at any time, but one of the top guys is the Rams offensive coordinator. Now that the Rams season is done, there's no date to wait for. So if Mike LaFleur is the guy, they can go ahead and hire him. He's certainly well up there. According to Kalshi, which is one of these trading platforms, LaFleur is the favorite with a 55% chance to land the job. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, hey Grant, why are we talking about the NFC West so much? Why do we really care? Well, the answer to that is, you know who else is one of the top targets for the Cardinals? Raheem Morris. And Raheem Morris has this connection to the Commanders because he is supposedly one of their top targets for that defensive coordinator position. So the whole situation, I guess the sit rep with Raheem Morris is head coach with Atlanta, fired. Wants to be a head coach again. He basically says, if I don't find a job, then I don't mind going to TV. I'm not pressed to come back and be a defensive coordinator or even a position coach somewhere. I'll just go hang out until a team wants to hire me to be the head coach. Now, that's not a guarantee, but it was floated as a possibility. So the reason that I said when this video first started, 5-6 minutes ago, that the next few days could be very important for this search. On the one hand, Karl Scott is available for an in-person interview. So if we hear the Commanders conducted a second interview with Karl Scott, that implies some serious interest in him. On the flip side, if the Cardinals hire Mike LaFleur and then Raheem Morris all of a sudden gets an interview with the Commanders, it becomes, oh, so this is what they were waiting for. They were waiting for Raheem Morris all along. Now, I bring this up because, and we have more defensive coordinator news in just a second, but I bring this up because I posted a video over the weekend on Saturday, which was all opinionated. And the general theme of what I said was the Commanders could hire Karl Scott. They could hire whoever. It could work out. It could be that they're not allowed to make their hire right now. But that doesn't change the fact that they have way more targets than what is standard, what is average. And some people might call that doing their due diligence. But when I recorded the video, they had spoken to 8 people. They have now spoken to 9, which, again, obviously I'm going to tell you about how that number changed in just a second here. But they have interviewed 9 people, and they had 2 additional targets. They wanted to speak to Jeff Ulbrich. Ulbrich seemed like maybe the top guy, and we all know that they have interest in Raheem Morris. That has been the report since like day one. So 9 interviewees, 11 targets. We can talk about the playoff schedule and how they can't hire Karl Scott if he's the guy because the Seahawks are still going and all this stuff, but something was happening. And I don't know if it's people were turning them down. I don't know if it's they didn't like what they were hearing. I don't know if it's they had a bad list from the beginning. Maybe they were getting outbid. Is that what happened with Brian Flores? Did other people not want to work with Dan Quinn? Did other people not want to work with the players on the roster? I have no clue, but I'm telling you it was not standard. They did not, I do not believe that the team entered this period thinking we are going to try to interview 11 guys. And there's still the opportunity to interview even more than that. I just don't believe that. It seems like far too many. So just my opinion. That was the whole theme of the video. But let me get back on track here because people said I was being panicky and I was overreacting. And I tried to make the point like, guys, it could work out fine, but this process seems a little off. But as I mentioned, the number of interviewees has gone from 8 to 9. That's because on Sunday, the Commanders completed an interview with the Vikings defensive passing game coordinator, Daronte Jones. He has been in that role since 2023. He has a little bit of experience as a defensive coordinator back in LSU or at LSU in 2021. And then there's a long break and it goes back to Bowie State from 2005 to 2009. Now he played cornerback. He pretty much has always been working with defensive backs if he wasn't someone in a position of power. So a passing game coordinator, a defensive coordinator, etc., etc. He's a local guy. He went to Bishop McNamara in Maryland. He also went to college at Morgan State. He's obviously been working with Brian Flores for the last few years. He was also with Vance Joseph in Miami in 2016. So a guy who has a solid resume. But again, it's tough for me to look at this list and say, okay, who's actually in the lead for the Commanders? keep an eye on these next few days. I'm going to beat that point home. If they have a second interview with Karl Scott, if they have an interview with Raheem Morris, that kind of sets the trajectory. And if they do both, then I think those are the top two guys. Let's move over to the changes at the top level that I talked about. Director of College Scouting Tim Gribble is expected to leave the Commanders and join the Steelers. He has been with the Washington franchise since 2002, but he is from Pittsburgh. He played and coached at Duquesne, and he spent 2 years working for the Steelers previously. With all due respect to Tim Gribble, the team's drafting has not been stellar for a very long time. So I'm not too sure that this is the worst thing in the world. Now, he's not the one turning in the cards. He has scouts that work underneath him, right? General managers do stupid things. Owners do stupid things. So it's not like I'm saying, hey, this is all your fault. What I'm saying is our drafting hasn't been great. So I can't confidently say that this is a negative. It might be a negative, it might be a positive. I have no clue. The Pittsburgh connection makes this sound like it was a self-motivation sort of ordeal. Like he said, hey, I'm from there, and I used to play there and coach there, and I even work for the Steelers. With all the changes that are happening in Pittsburgh right now, Mike McCarthy coming in, Rodgers potentially retiring, it can make sense that they would reach out and say, hey, why don't you come back here? But the thing that causes me it gives me a pause for concern is this is still relatively close to the NFL draft. Now, it's 3 months away. And AP's a smart dude, and he'll have contingencies, and he'll get people in positions, and they'll figure this thing out. But the timing is still undesirable. The Shrine and the Senior Bowls are going on right now. Again, you've got 3 months, I think just a little bit less than that until draft day. So there is enough time to pivot, but we will see what impact, if any, this does have on the Commanders' draft prep process. One more quick thing before I get out of here, and this does not relate to the Commanders, but it is NFC East news. The Eagles are in a bit of misery. Just like the Commanders are struggling to fill out their defensive coordinator position, and whether or not that is related to playoff timeline, I know you don't need to remind me. We'll wait and see. The Eagles have been desperately trying to find their offensive coordinator, and it's not related to the playoffs for them. They are trying to get guys in there, and they are just being turned down. They were shot down by Mike McDaniel. They tried to interview the Cowboys offensive coordinator, Clayton Adams. Now, the Cowboys actually had the ability to block this interview because teams can block lateral moves or interviews for lateral moves. They can't block moves for promotions. This was going to be a lateral move. Clayton Adams was just going to go from Cowboys offensive coordinator to Eagles offensive coordinator. The difference was he would call plays in Philadelphia. He does not currently call them in Dallas, but he said no, and he asked the Cowboys to block it. Or he asked the Cowboys to block it. Sorry, I don't know what just happened to me there. They've got shot down by Arthur Smith. And then the big news today is LSU offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss Jr., who's coming over from Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. He just wants to stick with Lane at LSU. So the Eagles are really struggling. I think I saw that they're looking at a Colts position. No, sorry. They are looking at potentially Jim Bob Cooter, who has the funniest name in football history, who is the Colts OC, and then the Texans quarterbacks coach who was with Sirianni in Indianapolis, I believe is the new updated list. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there because it is news about our rivals. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate y'all joining me. Make sure you hit the like and the hype buttons if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. And as always, throw your comments down below. But I'm headed out of here. I appreciate y'all joining me. Now I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.